Jesus talked about fasting in Matthew 5, and he uh, emphasized that fasting should be a private thing. It's usually connected to prayer, and the fasting is supposed to be something private between you and the Lord. And this is in a religious sense, is that you are uh, setting aside the normal bodily needs so you can focus on something that honors God for a brief time. And in 1 Corinthians 7, there's a mention of a husband and wife doing this in their life. And so this is something that the scripture recognizes and accepts. It does not require it of everyone, but it does give principles to follow with it. It's to be private, and it's usually connected to prayer or to some sort of a commitment to the Lord about it. Sometimes it's used in connection with prayer, with uh, praying for very difficult things. So the reference in Matthew 17:21, uh, that one to fasting and prayer is in regard to dealing with evil spirits. And it just emphasizes that fasting and prayer just emphasize our expression of dependence on the Lord. Now, in 2 Corinthians 11, Paul goes through a list of things that he's been doing in ministry, and among them are fastings. So he was doing it in the course of his life and ministry as well. All of those are oriented to fasting used in spiritual exercises, or especially connected to prayer and devotion to the Lord. And you need to follow that as the Lord guides you and leads you, and you don't need to impose it on anybody else. But as you're able to do that, then it's something that you could follow the Lord in doing fasting time to honor Him. There are also fastings done for medical and diet benefits, and you can find YouTube podcasts about it too, and follow the guidelines of them for your benefit. My only caution in all of this, both for spiritual purposes and for medical purposes, is that you have to examine your own physical needs. Okay, there are some people that should not fast for more than a few hours. There are other people that maybe they ought to fast for days. But that, aside from being a little funny about it, just be wise about how you follow this. Okay, if a brief fast is sufficient for you and not detrimental to you because of different physical problems you already have, then be careful how you do it. Just realize the Lord doesn't command it, but it is something that there are some guidelines that the Scripture gives. So if you find benefit from the fasting for medical or dietary purposes, wonderful. If you find it's a benefit to you with your walk with the Lord, with a time of devotion or a time of prayer, wonderful. Don't use it as a source of spiritual pride. Just look at it as, well, the Lord is using this to help me and to work out these things in my life, and with whatever His purposes are through you and through your prayer life. But that's about fasting. So fasting has been common down through the ages, and it's can be a valuable tool. Just follow these guidelines that Jesus gives and that the Scripture gives.